Nolan is depressed and a lonely man, but this depression is ultimately a combination of having a huge ego and a strong sense of entitlement. I can't decide who's more prideful, Viltrumites or Saiyans, and more specifically the one with the receding hairline. After giving his son a hard beating, he flees Earth and ends up in space, literally just floating about, feeling like a complete loser whose life is over. That's why he's on the verge of self-deletion. He regrets the choices he made on Earth, but luckily for him, he eventually ends up saving some members of an alien race and feels a sense of purpose once more. He then becomes the Emperor, has a new family, but this reason to soldier on is short-lived since now his own race wants him dead. He broke the code of conduct by leaving his post on Earth, so now they want his head the same way he showed no mercy and decapitated the immortals. But there's something severely wrong with Nolan that I think people are failing to notice. Yes, he is indeed an asshole, but not only that. This man is extremely conceited. He hasn't changed at all. He manipulated his own eldest son into abandoning Earth just so that they can reunite. This entire interaction seems genuine until in the third act of the episode he chokes Mark like he's nothing, conveying a sense of internal turmoil as well as the fact that old habits do indeed die hard. Imagine making your kid travel 6 days because you miss him only to violate him again during your reunion. Like, how bipolar do you have to be in order to pull such a stunt like that? Don't be surprised that if by the end of this season, Mark fully develops daddy issues. Guess that'll be one more thing in common he has with Adam Eve, huh? To make things worse, he tells Mark that he has a kid and needs him to defend his half-brother from becoming a corpse. You know, it's kinda ironic how only now he wants to try and go through all this effort in order to show a sense of fatherly activity. This entire episode was basically Nolan recruiting his kid to babysit his other kid. I don't know about you, but that's beyond bizarre, especially that it's with a woman who's a complete stranger to Mark. This is the same Nolan who felt a sense of resentment towards Mark simply because he took a long time to activate his powers. Nolan's conflicted on his status as a Viltrumite. He was clapping alien cheeks and became a father with a race who they deem as inferior. Yet in the same episode, he scolds his kid for holding back during a fight where his ass was being handed to him just to say that's not the Viltrumite way. He has to man up and throw some hands. The internal conflict is strong with this one. Something that came full circle is how in the first season Nolan conquered and violated the Flaxtons like nobody's business. Yet right now the inverse has taken place. He's all buddy-buddy with the Thraxans. It just goes to show how much he's lost his way. A part of me feels like he never truly cared about the Thraxans. He saved them and developed a savior complex. I think that's why the scene where he feels emotional about their deaths is there. It's highlighting just how much cognitive dissonance Nolan is experiencing. This is the same Nolan who tried to convince Grayson that in 500 years, everyone he knows on Earth will be 6 feet deep. Now he's here on his high horse talking about how his half-brother needs him. When I heard this, I was sitting there like, wake up man, not everything is about you. Like bruh, you can't all of a sudden go through a spiritual awakening and turn a new leaf after killing your comrades and calling your first wife a dog, and now you end up breeding with the weird female bug, all because you couldn't control the joystick in your pants. And Nolan hasn't been on this planet for that long, but he couldn't control himself. This man wanted to test the waters and see just how strong his seed really is and planted it inside some parasite pussy. Like, come on Nolan, were you that down bad? If you just beat your meat, all of this would have been prevented. But I guess a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do. Of course, Nolan's new perspective is supposed to represent that he's indeed a new man. He's pulled a complete 360 and wants to showcase his newfound empathy towards Mark, even though his approach doesn't seem sincere. Furthermore, showcasing that the struggle he's facing is similar to Debbie's. Basically, it's far from over. This episode left me feeling kinda bad for Nolan. I wouldn't say that he doesn't care for his family on Earth, I just think that he feels there's nothing he can do about it. Quite literally. So I guess this was an attempt at having a new lease on life, but as we saw from that ending, it seems like his lease might come to an end once again.